Get your GameFace.
Hello and welcome to the MPNFL Under-19s football show, Division 1 and Division 2, brought to you by a new sponsor, Cruise Nightclub. So thanks for joining us. I'm joined by my co-host Dan Lonigan. Dan, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. Great to be here. I haven't been to Cruise Nightclub yet. I'm probably too old to go to the Cruise Nightclub.
I'll try and get you in a couple of weeks.
I'll go down. I'll stand out. Being so old, and I think they'll all run away from me. But great to have Cruise on board, and we thank them for their sponsorship to be part of our Under-19 show.
Yeah, thanks to Mitch Cruz for agreeing to the sponsorship. We've got a few prizes that we're going to draw out in weeks to come in terms of free entries for Cruz. So we'll let all that unfold later on in the show. But a big show lined up, Dan. We've done some pre-recording here and had a chat with a couple of the Langy boys. So we'll have an interview with Blake Holloway and
also Chad Mulvogue, who's one of their key midfielders, and Blake the captain. And they're going all right, Langy. They took on Coringal and we broadcast that game, and it was a good game of footy. Coringal just a little bit better, more experienced. But Lang Warren are playing good footy and right in the mix, you would have thought, to feature heavily in the finals later in the year.
We wanted to start off the show with a bit of a tribute to, you'll see a photo pop up on the screen, of Matty Main, who unfortunately did his ACL a couple of weeks ago. We wish Matty Main all the best with his injury. He's been a great supporter of GameFace since day dot, and we wish him all the best with his recovery. So good on you, Matty Main.
I did send him a message. I did say any chance to come back. He said probably not. I mean, it's unfortunate because he's such a big influence for Pines, and they were getting better. And to have someone like him, he helped turn the game against EDS, which we called Matt earlier in the year, and I thought, well, with a big fellow like that up forward, a top age player, that'll help their cause later in the year, but it just makes it a bit tougher for them now, doesn't it?
It does. He took some big marks, and yeah, he's a cult figure down there at Pines. So we wish you all the best, Matty. And last week, Dan, 2,000 views on our show for episode 3, so we want to thank all of the viewers that took the time to watch the show and shared the show and tagged their friends. And we want to encourage that behaviour to help us grow this show into what it could be.
Yeah, we do, absolutely, and everyone's getting behind us, and we thank them for that. And there's so much going on in the MPNFL, particularly the under-19s, everyone doing their best to try and perform well every week, and we'll try and provide you with much information. And if you keep tuning in, there'll be plenty more for you as the year goes on.
Dan, I want you to go straight through the Division 2 scores from last week.
Well, Coringal 5-13-43, Matt, beat Langwarren 5-5-35, 18 scoring shots to 10, but it was a good tight contest. Crib Point going well also in the under-19s after making the finals last year, finishing 5th. 10-9-69 beat Seaford 4-2-26. Tyab 9-15-69 over Devon Meadows. At least they scored 2 goals, 2-2-14 it is. And they're having a crack, and they're putting a team out there every week, and you need to keep applauding them for that. Somerville 11-8-74. This was the closest game of the round. Beat an improving Pearstone 11-5-71. Rye were a good team in the under-19s last year, finishing top 3, but they're battling at the moment. Mind you, every team's battling against Red Hill. 13-23-101, so 36 scoring shots. The margin in the end was 99 points. It could have been more. Rye 2 behinds. And Chelsea 13-8-86 up against the young Hastings team 4-2-26. What about First Division, mate?
First Division saw Bomb Beach take care of Mornington, but Mornington did put up a pretty good contest. 11-5-71 Bomb Beach, 6-11-47 Mornington. So Mornington have taken some big steps in the under-19s this year, so great work to Mornington. Eddie Asp had the bye. Germana went down to a pretty strong Mount Eliza side, 23-14, 152, quite a big score there. And Germana 2-14-26, so they had their chances.
They did.
To put some more on the scoreboard. But I think Coach Rowan Bleak would be happy with the amount of scoring shots they had against Mount Eliza.
Well, that's 16. At least they're having a go and they're trying to get the ball forward. It's just a matter of finishing off. It's all about
conversion in
the end, isn't it?
Pines 5-11-41 beat the Frankston Bombers 2-8-20, so a low scoring game there, but Pines walked away with the chocolates. Steve Jackson would be happy, no doubt. Frankston ICW continued their hot start, 22-17, 1-4-10 Rosebud. So Rosebud, we already know that are struggling to get numbers on the park each week due to having a lot of players playing a high level of TAC Cup, or NAB League I should say, and in the seniors. So we're going to read out a few of their names a bit later to actually address how many players Rosebud are missing at the moment. I had a good chat with Matt Baker about that. But that's the Division 1
When can they come back? They can't come back if they've been chosen to play for Stingrays. I mean, this is what Rosebud have been good at, though, haven't they? I mean, Nick Jules always said he will give them an opportunity to play at the highest level. But if they're available, they come back and play for Rosebud. It's important to have those players playing footy every week.
And the Dandenong Stingrays are renowned for making sure that if their players aren't playing in the squad in NAB League, they go back and play seniors. So that's generally what's happening, and that they're not finding their way back to the 19s. But good on Rosebud for being able to field a team. They've got 17s coming up for next year, so they're just building on a year for next year. But we'll go on into that in a minute. We want to cut to the ladders for Division 1 and Division 2. That'll take us to an ad. We'll be back on the GameFace MPNFL Division 1 and Division 2 football show. For the under-19s, thank you to Cruise Nightclub.
Get your game face on. Get your game face. Get your game face on. Get your game face. Get your game face on. Get your game face. Get your game face on.
Welcome back to the episode 4 of the MPNFL Division 1 and 2 Under-19s football show. As you can see, Dan, the Bushman's Cup has joined us tonight at Langwarrin. A big game between Langwarrin and Pearsdale in the seniors, reserves and under-19. Should be close contests and all, you'd hope. Obviously in the seniors, maybe a bit of a gap with Pearsdale.
Well, Langwarrin need a win, and they've only won 2 from 5 so far. They're going pretty well in the reserves. Langy are also going well in the under-19s, but Pearsdale will be competitive because this is one of their big games of the year. The Bushman's Cup's been such a big part of these two clubs' psyche for a long, long time in football down this neck of the woods, Matt. So whenever there is a cup on show in any football match or to be played for, no matter where the teams are on the ladder, they always try and strive a little bit harder to try and get that silverware and have that in their cupboard for the next 12 months.
And in Division 2, Red Hill, Logan Sanford did win the goal kicking last year in under-19s, and he's put himself on top of the leaderboard again, kicking 7 goals last week. And he is the top of the leaderboard with his teammate Josh Johnson, pretty close on his heels, who's landed himself in the Stingrays, which is exactly what Red Hill were trying to do with Josh to start the year, get him playing some good footy, get him kicking some goals, and it's landed him in the team. And I reckon that's great by Red Hill to be pushing their players into the I won't say TAC Cup, I'll say NAB League, I'll get it right. But great to see him playing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is an opportunity. If they're good enough, this is where they're found at a young age. Many of them aren't ready at a young age. We've seen so many examples of players get that chance a few years down the track, but it's all about the NAB competition at this stage. So if you're good enough and you play well enough for your various under-18 team, particularly in Victoria where the biggest Stingrays, Quarter Cannons, etc., there's a chance for you to eventually be noticed by recruiters.
Exactly right, and a great initiative by Red Hill to really push him. He kicked 5 last week, so that has landed him his spot. I want to have an honourable mention for Adam Bogue, who kicked 7 goals a couple of weeks ago for Langwarrin, and also played a pretty good game, I thought, for Langwarrin against Coringal on the weekend. Was in the middle for most of the game, played ruck, and a pretty good effort of fitness from Adam, I thought, Dan.
Yeah, he had to work pretty hard. Conditions were tough, weren't they? It was a bit windy, it was a little bit wet, there was a bit of driving rain. Didn't make for a pretty game of footy, and I know, speaking to Mike Treat, the coach of Coringal, he said, "Oh, Dan, would have been hard to call," and I said, "Oh, well, it wasn't the easiest game of footy, but it was a good tight contest." And at the end of the day, you want good tight contests. I mean, the exhilarating footy of a team dominating and kicking goals left, right and centre, or even two teams, is great to watch. But when you get a good tight contest, I'll give you an example, even in the AFL, Freo and Adelaide, I mean, it was, 3 goals between both teams at half-time, but it was still fascinating to watch. And this game was similar too. We've got 2 good teams that were playing finals-like footy that may get a crack at each other later in the year.
Whilst we're talking about Langwarrin, we're going to throw to the interview that we had a bit earlier with Blake Holloway and Chad Mulvogue. We'll be back after that.
Well, the Langwarrin under-19s going beautifully this year. Really hard-fought match against Coringal on the weekend. It was tight all day. Coringal were a bit inaccurate, and they eventually got over the line to remain they've only lost 1 game too. Coringal, 8 points was the margin against the Langwarrin team. But Blake, as captain of the team, it wasn't a bad effort by your boys. Do you think in the end you should have been a bit closer?
Yeah, look, we played a really good game, but we thought obviously they had a lot of scoring shots, but we really kept them pretty clamped down, especially in the back line. Yeah, they ended up getting away from us in the end, but we thought we had a lot of momentum going into the last quarter and we just couldn't pull it together, but yeah.
And you've got a new coach, Matt Watts. He's animated. What's it like having him as coach, and do you feel you're learning a lot from him with his style, which is obviously different to what you might have experienced before.
Yeah, obviously with Gav last year, he was good too. He was new to the club, so that was good. But yeah, Watsy this year, he's been great for us. Just his enthusiasm around the group, and he just sort of brings us all together, and just like he's just really one part of us and wants us to be the best that we can be. So yeah, does really well.
Chad, also thanks for joining us, mate.
No,
You're a
no
bottom
worries,
major of the team this year under your skipper Blake and the new coach Watsy. I went over to the huddle at I think halftime of the game on the weekend, and I could see Watsy was a bit animated. How do you guys respond to someone that might give you a spray?
Well, I think with Watsy, he's always pretty animated, so you don't get used to it. But like when he wants to give you a serve, you obviously will respond. But I think halftime of that game, the game was still in the balance. He was just trying to get us up and about and get us firing. But yeah.
Kringle did jump out of the blocks a little bit, and you guys had some early opportunities as well.
Yes.
What do you think kept you guys in the game?
I think our pressure is really good. I think we just turned the ball over a bit too much. I think that cost us in the end. Obviously, it was only 8 points, but I think we probably, I'd have to say at least 2 or 3 goals because of our turnovers. So,
very good.
It's a tight competition, Blake, isn't it? I mean, you look at Red Hill; they're a very good side. Again, we know Kringle are a good side. Your team's a very good side as well.
Yep.
Do you feel you're right in the mix though to be there come the business end of the season, even though of course we're not even a third of the way through?
Yeah, look, we thought, especially on the weekend, with how we held Kringle, we certainly showed that we can be up there with the best. Obviously, Red Hill, they're a ripper team this year, as they were last year. And obviously, Kringle won the premiership last year, so they're the top 2 standouts for this year. But yeah, just showing that we could be up there on the weekend against Kringle gives us a lot of confidence going into the rest of the season.
Just quickly, I know Kringle are the reigning premiers, but Red Hill have been really strong to start the year. Do you guys at Langwarrin believe you can beat them? Are they a beatable side in your eyes?
Yeah, we have a lot of confidence in our group, especially we haven't even put our best 22 out on the park yet. We've still had a lot of people. We got Seppo. He came down for pre-season. He's been out with he had a surgery on his jaw, and then obviously you had Charlesy in the ones at the start of the year. Dormer has come back to our team after playing a couple of games of the ones, so we'll be getting into it soon.
1 week, so he's handy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's good. Small forward, but he can play as a tall, and his energy in the ground is just contagious. So yeah, he's really good, and then obviously Charlesy down back.
How was he, Chad, after he kicked 13? Could you shut him up?
I think he couldn't say. Obviously, anyone that kicks 13 would love to love that to happen. I can't say I've experienced it. I don't know what I'd do if I kicked 13, but I'd certainly be up and about. He was.
Just in regard, Chad, to this football club and all the juniors you've got, I mean, most of you have played football together. What's it like when you play so much football together? You sort of know each other pretty well. It makes it easy, doesn't it, as you go through the ranks?
Oh yeah, I think it definitely does. Like obviously, if you play at least I think a lot of us played probably five years together with each sort of you have even though they're in the 19s, you have the top ages, but we've sort of meshed well, and then having that past experience, being out on the field together really does help.
And what sort of captain is Blake? Does he say a lot? Is he animated like the coach, or is he a little bit more of the shy, retiring type and lets his actions do the talking?
I think he more lets his actions do the talking. He definitely doesn't get as animated, but you know, if he is getting that animated, it really means something, then you got to pull your finger out. And
do you like being captain, Blake?
Yeah, no, it's a great experience. Obviously, I was surprised at the start of the year that the boys voted me, but I'm very thankful, and yeah, I'm loving it so far.
Good on you, boys. Had a great start to the year. Good luck for the rest of the year, and thanks for joining us on GameFace.
Thank you.
Cheers,
good on you, boys. Welcome back to the MPNFL Under-19 First Division and Second Division footy shows with Dan Lonigan and also Plugger. It's thanks, of course, to Cruise Nightclub in Mornington. It's the place to be for all you young folk and maybe not so young folk, even like my good self. I might try and get down there a couple of times. Wonderful to have Cruise Nightclub in Mornington on board as part of our under-19 football shows in the MPNFL for First and Second Division. Well, Matt, you worked very, very hard to get on the phones. You're like a true news hound trying to find out all the news of the various clubs in the under-19s. You've done a great job again. I'll start, and hopefully I can do it justice for you, with Division 1 clubs. Bond Beach, Tom Reeves played his first senior game for the Sharks last week, and that means that 6 under-19s have been playing seniors for the Bomb Beach team this year, which include Will Dunn, Lachlan Stenning, who was a member of the Stingrays Premiership side last year, Reece Hogan and Jake Gazzola, as well as Tom Reeves, and great work to the Bomb Beach Footy Club, who are going pretty well in the under-19s. They're on top of the table, undefeated, and going pretty well. And the seniors are inside the top 5, giving all their kids a run at the top level. So Bomb Beach look like they're in a much better space this year compared to last year.
There's a bit of a connection with Willow, the under-19s coach, being the midfield coach for the seniors as well. So he has a bit more of a voice for the under-19s.
He does.
So look, this bloke's ready to go. Let's get him in there. And that's great by Willow. So great stuff, mate.
Well, Lachlan Stenning's like a bull. He was terrific in that grand final, even when Oakley were coming in the last quarter. He was holding them up brilliantly across half back. Now, Dramani knew they had a big task in taking on the Redlegs last week, and all coach Rowan Bleeker is after, and you mentioned they kicked 214, is seeing them be competitive, and 214's competitive, even though you're not kicking goals, you're at least getting it inside 50.
Good number of scoring shots, just got to put them through the distance.
And it's wonderful that he's coaching them and then going on and playing senior footy as well. It's a good person to have around the club and be involved as a coach. EDS, we know they're a different team this year. They've got a lot of bottom ages in their team. Great work to Blake Ross, who played his first game in the ones for EDS last week, described by Damien Harris as a small but quick on-baller. A couple of under-19s have been stepping up to the Magoos, also in Luke Maguire, Jared Amor and Patrick Torpey. Zach O'Neill is going to miss a couple of weeks, unfortunately, due to suspension. But in lighter news for Zach, he had a good game last week, kicking 4 goals and played well, so he will be missed. Damien Harris says it's a great opportunity to use the bye, and they've used the bye quite well to play some kids in the senior teams to gain experience. Of course, they had the bye last week because their senior side was playing Sorrento, and the reserves also played Sorrento. Frankston Bombers coach Mark Green believed that last week's game was an evenly matched one against the Pines, and they just want to keep in touch with the pack. And it was a good game of footy, and they showed plenty of pluck.
Low scoring, but
it was.
But look, that's all they can do.
Exactly. Frankston YCW, not a whole lot of news out of YCW. They're just happy to have a healthy list, and they're looking forward to the next month of footy to give a true indication of where they're at, and I think they're right in the mix. Pines, we touched on our great mate Matty Main. He's done his ACL, and we wish him all the best on his recovery. Mount Eliza, well, they're flying. Coach Shane Foss is pleased to feel that there is a positive vibe around the group, so there should be, because they're travelling so well. Another positive was that last week Will Anthony made his senior debut, so well done to him, and they keep blooding the young players, don't they?
Good to see.
And you mentioned this about Rosebud. They've got 8 players that come through the Rosebud Junior Football Club that the under-19s don't get access to. That's why they're struggling a bit. Blake Kuipers at the Stingrays, Jay Nance-Cowan, Stingrays, Reed Nance-Cowan playing in the seniors for Rosebud. We called him a couple of weeks ago. Zach Maynard consistently in the ones for Rosebud. The twin redheads, Matt and Stephen Cumming, Northern Territory Thunder, were part of the premiership side at the Stingrays last year.
Having another go at NAB League.
Absolutely. Campbell Huswaite, Collingwood VFL, Toby Bedford drafted to Melbourne, good player for the Stingrays last year as well. And no wonder the Rosebud under-19s are struggling for numbers, because they've got so many good players off doing great things. So great work to those guys. 2 under-17s played last week for Rosebud, which will bring their numbers up to 18. They've been recruiting heavily and have also landed 2 new players in Evan Fatouris and Charlie Patching. So well done to the Butters.
Great to hear the news from Division 1. Look, we really appreciate the coaches answering my phone calls and text messages during the week. We've all got jobs, we all need to do our commitments, but you guys taking that time, send us some news to let these kids
Do
hear
they
their
side
names.
when you ring?
No, not really. Not really.
Not you again, player.
They might behind my back, but I'm happy with all the relationships I've got with all clubs, coaches of the under-19s, and it's great. I want to move on to Division 2. Chelsea have a few outs at the moment. Coach Juan is very impressed with how the boys have been travelling, and are looking forward to getting their season back on track with a few winnable games coming up, he believes. Crib Point welcomed back Jonah Bam and Jacob Neal back from injuries, so we hope you guys got through last week. No reports that they didn't, but hope you guys got through after your injuries. Devon Meadows, numbers have improved once again so much that they're running separate training sessions from their under-17s and under-19s now. They've got as many numbers to run, different drills.
Great news. They've worked so hard to try and get at least 18 players playing for them every week, and after what happened in the opening game where Kooringal had to use some of their players to play for Devon Meadows each quarter and rotate them around, which was a great decision by Kooringal, and they need to be applauded for that. Well done to Devon Meadows, because they've kept at it to make sure they've had enough numbers, and well done to them.
Yeah, exactly right. And going on to some more news from Devon Meadows, Paul Sinclair, their coach, is really happy with although they're not hitting the scoreboard as much, they're hitting the scoreboard. You know, so they've got the numbers, they're hitting the scoreboard, and he said, look out for the progress because they've got a fair few bottom ages, and we've seen what happens when the bottom ages turn top age. This happened at Bomb Beach this year. They could have a much better year in sight. Dan, moving on to Kooringal. Look, Coach Mike Treat named Zach Saunders as best on ground, not last week, the week before. So very happy with Zach Saunders, and look, he's pleased with his captain, Stephen Taplesay, leading from the front. Booted 3 goals a couple of weeks ago. He's kicking goals, he's leading the team, and I agree with you, Dan, and you've said it on shows before, he must be close enough to a senior game.
I think so, and he could play at both ends and be a very handy addition. They've had Corey Badhams play senior footy this year and looked the part, and Jai Treep's a good player. He's been there since the start, and they've got some good recruits this year, Kooringal and the seniors, so good that their under-19s are getting an opportunity because they are the reigning premiers and they're a very good side.
A handy player came back for Kooringal, and we noticed him on the weekend. He was definitely holding the back line up along with Jack Richards last week. Ash Cad returned from Bali, so he had a brand new tattoo that he was showing off, and he was happy with that one.
Well, they're similar players, aren't they? Jack Richards is the left footer, running off half back, and Ash Cad is the right footer.
Yeah, it works well. Mike Treep's
no doubt.
Worked out there. A bit of a Hawthorn style with the left footers up the wing. They've gone both sides, so
they have.
Good to see. Scott McDonald played his first game for Kooringal earlier in the week, obviously last week, so he's come across from the enemy, Frankston ICW, who I played junior footy for. Did recognise him, he's grown up a little bit, got a fair bit of size to him, and we had a chat with him after the game. And we want to cut to the segment where we had a quick chat with Jack Richards. We'll be back in a second. Welcome to GameFace's post-game wrap-up. Thanks to 7 Steps of Wealth, the under-19s have gotten a win over Langwarrin this morning, and I'm joined by the named best on ground, Jack Richards, in the first game of Scott McDonald. I'll start with you, Jack. Playing off half-back today, mate. You had it on a string. How do you think you went?
Yeah, not bad. I'm just taking the game on more and playing with a bit more confidence, so it's good, yeah.
The ball was down there a lot early. You guys were under pressure. Once you started to get some clear kicks out, did you feel a lot better about going into damage control?
Yeah, well, they came out with heaps of pressure laying like we knew they would. They're undefeated. So, once we got our clean football together, we played much better, yeah.
You're the left footer, Cad's the right footer.
Yeah.
You obviously take the left side, he takes the right side. How good is it to work with a quality player down back like Ash as well?
Yeah, Ash is good. He's so tough, and he's a bit undersized, but he just goes hard and leads.
And you say undersized, you're not the biggest bloke either, but you do pretty well, mate. You attack the footy, and you're quick. Yeah. You had 2 really quick bursts of pace as well. It must feel good to run people off their feet.
Yeah, well, just playing with a bit more confidence and taking on more, which I got told to, so yeah, it's better.
You got a bit of celebration to do tonight, mate. It's your 18th birthday, so a nice win, a best on ground. You couldn't ask more for that, mate. You must be in for a big night.
Yeah, fucking massive.
We'll bleep that one out. And Scott, congratulations on the first win for the club, mate, and your first game, mate. How are you feeling to get the win?
Yeah, it was good to get the 4 points. It wasn't the best game, a bit scrappy, but we got the 4 points, so it matters.
Yeah, and it was a bit scrappy. You guys were just too good in the end. A lot of scoring shots, 18 scoring shots on goal, and only kicked 6 goals. So did Trippy have much to say about that, Scott?
Yeah, he wasn't too happy. We need to work on that at training.
What brought you across to Kooringal, mate? You're a Frankston ICW boy, similar to myself in my junior days, but you've come across to the rival club in Kooringal. Tell us about why that's happened.
I wasn't actually going to play footy this year, and then when I came to watch one of the games, and the boys got me down. So
very good. Who were some of your mates in this squad that have brought you across?
Oh, pretty much the whole team. I know most of them. So
yeah. Did you get an invite to Jack's 18th tonight?
Yeah, I'm going.
Good to hear, guys. Well, enjoy the win. Undefeated against the blokes that were under you guys in Langwarrin, and thanks for joining us on GameFace. And have a good night, fellas.
Cheers, boys.
To see the interview with Scott McDonald after his first game. Look, he's quite a tall guy, and he's got some attributes about him, but he wasn't too happy with how he went for his first game. You can't expect too much from yourself when you're playing in a brand new club, can you?
Well, I mean, you expect a lot, though. I mean, you say
yourself.
Yeah, you do expect a lot from yourself, and I mean that's a good sign from him that he wasn't happy, but he got through it. Obviously, he got an opportunity, and he'll keep improving as he goes along. So well done to him, and well done on his attitude.
And I think it's also helped him as well. He wasn't actually going to play football this year, and as I said, Kooringal being the enemy of Frankston ICW is true, but they're not in the same division anymore. No. So it's probably easier for him to actually go to a Division 2 side in Kooringal, where obviously it doesn't really matter too much that you're swapping sides because they're in different divisions. They don't play against each other anymore. I reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon. As a player, we always loved to play Kooringal when I was playing under 17s and 19s, and they loved to play us too. So there was a bit of a rivalry back then, and I think if Kringle were to win a premiership in Division 1 Division 2 this year and go up, the rivalry would be just as fierce, I believe, because it's not far down the road either, up Creamland Road. So
exactly right.
moving on to Langwarrin, we're here at Langwarrin tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks to Tony Collins and the committee to let us in to film tonight. We want to try and get around to a few other clubs and change the scenery and try and get some players onto the panel. We couldn't get any panel members tonight because we wanted to let the boys train, but we did catch up with a few of the other fellas earlier in the show, as you would have seen. But Joshy Dormer earned himself a spot in the one. So Matty Watts gave me that news, but he didn't play ones last week, mate. He played 19s and had a good game.
He did. He did.
Matty stitched me up there a little bit, mate.
After kicking 13 a couple of weeks ago.
I saw Josh run out when he gave me the news, and I wasn't going to read it out, but I thought I would to say, Matty, you've stitched me up there, mate. But that's okay. And they welcomed back Jake Klein from the Stingrays, who came back last week as well, and played all right too.
He's been a handy addition to them. I mean, it's good that they've got players playing in the Stingrays, and then when they don't play in the Stingrays, they come back and continue to play good footy. It's what it's all about, isn't it?
Travis Bravo at Pearsdale, their coach, said it was big news for them, and I believe it is too. Co-captain Connor Benwell came back after missing the start of the season with a broken wrist, so I hope you got through, Connor, and had a good game, and hope you hit the ground running as well. So also Josh Mitchell came back from a shoulder injury, and we also hope everything went well for you there as well. Josh out at Pearsdale, who have shown some signs of being a much better side this year.
Well, they've got a good percentage, haven't they? They've only won the one game, but they've got a good percentage, which if they can string a few wins together keeps them in the mix in the back end of the year.
Yeah, it's great to see. Obviously their seniors aren't going as well as planned. They've had a few players leave, but it's refreshing to see some 19s ready to take over the reins there at Pearsdale. Moving on quickly to Seaford, David Birtles was happy with an improved effort against Pearsdale a couple of weeks ago. They were eager to get a good start against Crib Point, and they regained Bailey Falastro into the side from a concussion, which is good to see him back last week. They're also looking forward to seeing Lockie Edwards and Cade Birtles returning to the team over the next couple of weeks after being on the sidelines with long-term injuries. So great to see some long-termers coming back, and never like to hear that someone's got a long-term injury at this age. Very happy with the efforts of John O'Tobin, Connor Boyd, Billy Corrigan and Bailey Searle, who are starting to make an impact after interrupted pre-season. So they haven't had the greatest pre-season for a few players as well, so just starting to get these players healthy. Coach David Birtles also wanted us to touch on a bit of his Super Rules news. He also plays Super Rules.
I take it you have a long chat to Dave, because there's about 6 or 7 lines there.
He gives me a paragraph, he gives me everything every week, and so do the other coaches. But look, we don't expect a paragraph, but look, we love to read it all out for you guys. So thanks, Dave. But I did want to touch on him playing Super Rules as well, so great to see their coach still involved playing at his age. He's not too old.
How's his body?
I'm not sure, but if he's still playing, it must be alright. And the reason he wanted me to say that is because he's playing with one of my old coaches from Frankston ICW, my premiership coach of under 14, Steve Corrigan. So a great bloke, Steve, and they're both playing Super Rules, and it was Steve's first game back, so I hope you didn't do a hammy, mate. But good to hear you're still playing, and we love to obviously relay some news about the coaches as well.
Absolutely.
Tyab, Will Hose, has made his debut for Tyab, and he's absolutely flying. 2 goals in his debut, held his spot well against Devon Meadows in their first win for the year, so great work to Will Hose.
Should be there, maybe should have been there a bit earlier.
I agree, he's the 3rd generation of the club, with his uncles playing senior footy for Tyab. His grandfather was an ex-president and a life member of the club, so it means a lot to him to get a game for Tyab. 2 new players for Tyab last week, Cooper Grange and Lachlan Argus, plus 2 boys from the under-17s, strengthening numbers in John and Kieran Watson. So,
well, they had some issues at the start of the year like Hastings, and we did that game, but they've managed to get players together, so that's a good sign for them.
Exactly right. With Hastings down the road and then Pearsdale not too far away as well, they all compete for players too as well. Yeah, and there's not a school that's really around the Tyab area either. You really, obviously they got Padua, but that hasn't been there for too long, and hopefully that starts to strengthen their juniors moving forward. But great work to Tyab at the moment. Somerville, thanks Chris Dalmo there. Congratulations to Jack Moroney, who got his opportunity to play in the seniors last week against Pearsdale. So that's great, or 2 weeks ago I should say. The Flying Red Hill, Harry Burt says Grooven the Moo would have hurt them last week. They had 8 players attend the festival out in the Geelong area. I wasn't able to go, I would have if I could have. But Grooven the Moo, a great festival that a few players wanted to get to, and they thought, well, we're flying, we'll head off for a bit of fun, and they missed 8 players. But great work to Kane Hawkins and Liam Riley, who have been making a strong case for their selection in the seniors. Harry Burt believes they would have been in the senior team a bit earlier, but there's good depth in their reserves at Red Hill, so that made it a bit of a delayed approach there, and a good problem to have for Red Hill though.
So they must have depth. There was 8 players, and Rye have been a pretty good under-19 team, and they still win by nearly 100 points.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Going to be hard to beat.
They didn't have Logan Sanders. It was all Josh Lee for grooving them either, and they kicked all the goals on the weekend. So they didn't have their two real handy players leave them, which is good by them as well. I don't have anything wrong with
What
players
sort of
going
music
away.
is grooving for the Moon?
Bit of alternative, Triple J.
It's not REO Speedwagon or Chicago or Eagles or Fleetwood Mac.
Your Billie Eilish. I believe Fisher, who's a pretty big DJ as well, was playing. So that drew the crowd down.
Never heard of them.
I thought you would have.
Never heard of them.
Got to get down to Cruise. So
after 1990,
give you a lesson in music.
I have
these days,
never heard of music after 1990.
On to Hastings, bit light on for numbers. Max Bradshaw, important player, bigger body player there, due back in 2 weeks. And Coach Pat Foy said there's a lot of bottom ages in the team this year, so it's more of a development year for Hastings. But that's all the news, and really happy with all the contribution from all the coaches. We all really enjoy dropping some of these kids' names each week, and players and coaches look at the show to hear if they're spoken about, and I think that's great.
And thanks to the coaches too for giving up their time and knowing how important it is that we mention your club every week. As Plugger said, one line is enough if that's all you can give us, if you're busy with your work commitments and your football and family commitments, but a lot of coaches go beyond, which is terrific. Exactly what we want.
Yeah. Well, there's the news for Division 1 and Division 2 in the under-19s. We really love being able to get the access to the news, and we love letting the kids hear their names, and we know that the players do watch the show to see if they are mentioned, so it's great to have the news each week. I think it's a great segment.
And we thank the coaches, they're buying into it, and that's exactly what we want. We want to hear about your club, we want to hear how you're going, and it's a big part of what we do for the GameFace footy shows.
We do want to get some news from Rye next week. Apologies for the slip this week, guys. I didn't send McPherson a message, but I will send you a message this week to make sure we got some news coming out of Rye. But apologies there to the Rye guys. You will have some news next week. And good luck to you guys on the weekend as well. Just want to touch on our new sponsorship real quickly with Cruise Nightclub.
Yes.
So what we're going to do with Cruise is to show the support for the show. We want you guys to tag 5 friends and share the post once it's let up. So each week I want you to screenshot if you've done exactly that, send it to my Facebook, Plug a Bod, and each week I'm going to print out the screenshots, put it in Dan's GameFace Swivs locker hat, and we're going to deal out a Division 1 winner and a Division 2 winner. So we want both divisions sharing and tagging their mates as we include both, and it will include a free entry for the person that wins plus 2 of your mates for the upcoming week at Cruise. So I think that's a great donation from Mitch Cruise and the guys there
Thanks
at
so
the
much
Grand
for that.
Hotel of Cruise Nightclub, and we appreciate the new partnership.
Yeah, we really hoping that it'll be successful. We know it'll be successful, and we thank them for jumping on board to get behind the under-19s.
Thanks for watching the show. We're going to cut with a bit of a funny segment that we're trying to have every week. We caught up with a great fella in Jai Treep for a bit of roaming Jai before the 19s on the past weekend. So we're going to cut to roaming Jai to finish the show. Thank you for joining us, and thanks to Langwarrin Football Club and my co-host Dan Lonigan for the show tonight. And don't forget to get your game face on.
Get your game face on.
G'day, Jai Treat from the Kringle Footy Club. Playing at 2 o'clock today, so I've got a bit of spare time. We'll go inside and have a chat to a few of the boys. Bros, have a chat. Tell us about your finger. How's your finger going?
It's all right, mate.
What'd you do?
Fractured it at footy training. Going for a markable ball.
So just a bit of a bruise, or?
I was fractured it. All came out and then had to go to the hospital and get it put back in.
Yeah. So how long? How long left?
I think I should be back after the in-sleep bye. So
No worries. All the best, mate. Skipper, have a chat with you, mate. How you going, mate?
Yeah, good.
Good?
Yeah, very
Excited
well.
for today?
Yeah.
Been in good form?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Looking pretty close to a senior game?
Oh, yeah, it's probably due soon, I think.
What do you reckon for today? What's the focus?
Smooth the ball fast with the conditions and just try to beat the ring.
No worries. All the best, mate. Have a chat with Ashy. How's Bali, mate? Just got back from Bali. Missed the game last week.
Yeah, it's pretty good, yeah. Except the lady boys, they were pretty annoying, but yeah.
Yeah, I saw you got a few of them. New tattoo.
Yeah.
Just give us a look.
Good tat.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Happy with it?
Yeah, it's good as.
How long did it take?
6 hours.
Oh, nice. All right, all the best today, mate.
Cheers, mate.
A few of the boys are already out on the ground for a warm-up, so we'll go see what they're up to. Scotty Mac, go for a chat, mate. How you going, mate? First game for the club today?
Yeah, it is.
How you feeling?
Bit nervous.
Bit nervous?
Keen.
Where are you starting?
Forward flank.
Forward flank.
Yeah.
Nerves? High?
Yeah. Hi. I don't know. They're alright.
All right.
Should be right.
Yeah. All right. All the best today, mate.
Cheers, mate.
James, go for a chat, mate. How you feeling about today's game?
Pretty good actually.
First year, bottom age under 19.
Yeah.
How you finding it? How's the comp going?
Yeah, it's harder than unlike the juniors.
Bit quicker?
A lot quicker.
Yeah. Talk us through your mark 2 weeks ago. How do you against Seaford? Bit of a screamer?
It wasn't. Yeah, just saw the guy there, came up, just decided to jump on him.
And that's exactly what you did. And Bailey Frey, your older brother. Spud?
Yeah.
Are you better than him?
Yep.
Always be better than him?
Yep. He would know it. He knows it.
He does. Thanks, mate. Heading back inside. The boys out in the warm-up are a bit too serious, so don't want to have a chat with me, which is fair enough. Go to Zach Holton for a chat. How you feeling about today, mate?
Oh, I feel pretty excited about today. It obviously means a lot to us.
Yeah. So, footy aside, there's a rumour going around that you're more worried about your performance on man-o-man night.
That is correct. It is big stakes. I came second last year, so I'm coming for my rightful title this year.
And is your act all sorted, or?
Not yet. I winged it last year, so I feel like it's just going to be the same this year.
All right. Well, good luck for that, mate. Good luck
Thank you.
for today. Got Jack Richards here, one of our wingmen, been in really good form. The question is, mate, it was your 18th birthday during the week. You got your party on tonight. Are you more keen for the party tonight or today's game?
Oh, no, I hate to say it, but definitely tonight.
Yeah, same, mate. It's all right. I think most of the boys are the same, so all the best for tonight, mate. Hope you get best on in both games. How you feeling, mate? Getting the anchors done? How you feeling about today's game? Nervous? Confident? How many touches do you reckon? How many do you reckon? How many disposals are you looking for?
I'm just happy to get a touch.
Get a touch. Just try not to turn it over, alright? Thanks guys for joining me on Roaming Jai today. Thanks to Ambience Catering.
Get your GameFace on.